Welcome back, Elite Video Marketers. In today's video, I'm telling you how we went from 1,000 to 10,000 subscribers in 1 year on the Erin Watson YouTube channel. If you're interested in more in-depth video marketing tips, you should subscribe to my newsletter, Elite Video Marketing. I will link it below. But in the meantime, here is how we grew our channel. So the top two statistics to pay attention to on YouTube are your click-through rate and your average view duration. I've talked about both of these stats in the past, but as a brief refresher, your click-through rate is the percentage of people who clicks on your video as it shows up in their YouTube homepage. So if 100 people see your video on their homepage and 5 of those people click, you have a 5% click-through rate. Your average view duration is exactly what it sounds like. It is the average amount of time that people spend watching your videos. So if you have a 10-minute video and your average view duration is 1 minute, that tells you that the majority of your audience clicked off of the video before it even passed like the 3-minute mark, which is not great. It tells you that whatever your content is upfront in the beginning, it's not engaging enough to hold your audience. So how did we actually focus on improving these two statistics? Number one was we really focused on improving our thumbnails. The thumbnail is sometimes the make or break factor for a YouTube video. Thumbnails are movie posters. If you pour hours and hours of time and energy into producing a high quality YouTube video, and then you just pick one of the auto-generated thumbnails that YouTube provides, you are making a horrible mistake. So if you want to learn how to make great thumbnails, you should really study the greats closely. The channels that I always recommend people check out when they want to improve thumbnails is MrBeast, obviously. He puts hundreds of hours and lots of manpower into designing his thumbnails. The other one is Alex Hormozi. He is a very, very popular TikTok and Instagram and YouTube personality. He talks about building businesses and entrepreneurship. His thumbnails are always really good. And then the last one is Ryan Trahan. He also is very particular about how he designs his thumbnails, what colors he uses. He's been interviewed about this a lot. But that's the other thing that I recommend is consume a lot of content of the best YouTubers talking about their thumbnail strategies. MrBeast, Ryan Trahan, so many other fantastic YouTubers have all been interviewed talking about their thumbnails. They talk about it for a reason. It's because it matters. Once we started putting more time and energy into the thumbnails on the Erin Watson channel, we saw huge returns, so many more clicks. Our click-through rates went way up, and we kind of developed somewhat of a formula for the Piper Rundown thumbnails. We started to understand what really worked and resonated with the audience. More often than not, your thumbnail should contain a face and 1 or 2 eye-catching colors. You should really limit the text within your thumbnail, because if you're looking at something this big on screen, you're not really going to take the time to read a lot of tiny text. And it should also be very interactive, like almost pulling you into the image so that it makes you want to click. There are so many thumbnails of MrBeast like reaching out to the audience or having some sort of hugely emotive expression on his face. Study the greats and iterate on your designs. Don't just settle for the first design that you make. Go through a couple of versions of it, ask for feedback. You'll wind up with a much better finished product. When it comes to average view duration, what we did specifically to get people to stay and watch longer was improve the intros to our videos. And we did that a couple of different ways. Number one, we actually took the time to kind of script out our intros. Before, we didn't really give them much thought, but once we started to really focus on even just the first 10 words that were said during the intro, it made a massive difference in the engagement and the average view duration. So in scripting intros, we learned to plant a couple of open loops in the intros as well. So you may be wondering, what is an open loop? It's essentially a sentence or a question that you ask in the intro of your video that the audience will have to watch to figure out the answer to. So when we really started focusing on improving our average view duration, we included at minimum 1 open loop in the intro. It was better if we included 2 or 3 or 4. but we always wanted to give the audience a reason to stick around and watch longer. If everyone is clicking on this one video, if everyone is watching 10, 15, 20 minutes into a video, then they're going to recommend that video to a lot more people because YouTube rewards creators who know how to keep people on their platform. The other thing I'll note that really helped us in growing the channel was just the consistency. We had been publishing at least 2 days a week, I want to say 3 days a week, for over 3 years at that point. And it was just paying off. Like, a lot of people, I think, start YouTube channels and they get bummed out when their 10th video doesn't make the splash they were hoping it would make. And you can't really be in YouTube for the virality, for the money, like none of that. You're not gonna get any of it if that's what your expectations are going in. We knew that YouTube was a long game. We knew we had to be consistent in publishing, and it has paid off handsomely. Our audience has grown a lot, and we are consistently getting all different sorts of feedback on the types of videos that we publish. We're so much more focused on publishing business video essays this year, which is very exciting because we kind of acquired this big audience due to the business rundowns that we were doing back in 2021. So it's really cool to see like the evolution of content too, once you've been publishing to YouTube for a while. But yeah, those were the 3 things that we focused on in growing our YouTube channel: the thumbnails, the intro, and consistency, of course. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any value out of this, I know you would love my newsletter. Again, that is linked below. But until next time, have an elite week, and I will catch you in the next video.